Look back at week one of my biggest takeaways was realizing that literacy is much more than decoding text. I came to understand literacy as a social practice shaped by context, culture, and purpose. This means children are not only just learning to read and write, they are learning to use language as a way of expressing identity and connecting with their world. Another important insight for me was the value of balanced approach. I learned how effective literacy teaching includes shared and guided reading, opportunities for independent practice, and multimodal activities. I also deepened my understanding of writing as a process, moving from modeling to shared writing and then to independent creation. In a workshop, one of the activities I found most interesting was that focus on rhyme and the phonemic awareness. Exploring nursery rhymes reminded me how something simple and fun can have such a strong impact on children's literacy development. And phonemic awareness activity like I Spy or alliteration sentences showed me that children can learn to listen for beginning and ending sounds in a playful way. These strategies are powerful because every child can join in, no matter their reading level. When I think about Red Creek School, these ideas feel very relevant. In a diverse classroom with refugee learners, Aboriginal children, and fluent readers, nursery rhymes and sound games would give everyone an entry point into literacy. They provide a common enjoyable foundation, while scaffolded writing tasks and mental tasks can extend those who are ready. Overall, week one taught me that effective literacy pedagogy is about balance, explicit teaching, playful experiences, and authentic opportunities for expression. And the workshop reminded me that sometimes the simplest way, like a rhyme or a sound game, can make the deepest impact. From week two, I realized how important shared experiences are for building children's language. Language doesn't just come from textbooks, it grows out of what they do, see, and imagine. In the workshop, we explored how experiences create vocabulary and how talk and storytelling prepare children for writing. This helped me see that meaningful experiences give every child something to say and write about. One of the highlights for me in week two was when we create our own characters for a Creek story. I imagined a jolly little dog, and I called him Mighty Max. In my story, he lives near the creek, explores with lots of energy, and always finds exciting adventures. I found this task really fun because it wasn't just about drawing, it gave me ideas, vocabulary, and even a storyline that I could build into writing. What stood out to me was how creative texts like these give kids ownership of their own story. When they invent characters like Mighty Max, they feel proud and motivated to share, whether through speaking, drawing, or writing. It showed me how powerful language experiences can be, helping children connect imagination with literacy. When I connect these to Red Creek School, it makes a lot of sense. Their reception to two classes include children from refugee backgrounds, Aboriginal students, and fluent English speakers. A task like the Creek story provides a common entry for everyone. Refugee children can join through drawing and oral storytelling. Aboriginal children can connect with land and cultural knowledge, and fluent readers can extend their ideas in writing. For me, the big takeaway from week two is that language experiences are not extras, they are the foundation for literacy. By starting with real experiences, teachers give children the tools, the vocabulary, and the confidence to express themselves. And that's something I want to bring into my own teaching. In week three's workshop, we analyzed the writing samples. This helped me see that children progress along a similar pathway, but not in the same way or at the same pace. This means teachers have to be very observant and flexible. Our role is to notice what a child can already do and then provide the right scaffolding to guide them towards their next step in writing. One of the most helpful parts of the workshop is the creative writing task. This activity helped me clearly see the four components of writing. For context, we all imagined the Creek environment and created our own characters. For me, I invented Mighty Max the dog, and that gave me a personal connection to the writing. The text form was a simple narrative, and the process included planning, drafting, and sharing. Finally, we also thought about conventions like spelling and punctuation. I realized that when children are engaged in a fun and meaningful context, like the dog's adventures, they are much more motivated to write and to see themselves as authors. Linking this back to Red Creek School, the teaching and learning cycle makes so much sense. In that diverse classes, children are at very different stages of writing. Some may only be drawing and labeling, others can write short sentences, while fluent writers can produce full narratives. Using strategies like modeled, shared, guided, and independent writing provides an opportunity for everyone. What I have taken away from week 3 is that writing is not just about accuracy, it is about building their confidence, building children's confidence and their identity as writer. By scaffolding carefully and using meaningful context, teacher can support every child to develop as a writer and to share their own stories. In week 4, I learned is that children's reading development is complex and multi-layered. It's not just about sounding out words, it also involves building vocabulary, making meaning, using text for real purposes, and even thinking critically about what we read. From the readings, I understood that no single model of reading is enough. Phonics is important, but it has to be combined with comprehension, fluency, and engagement with texts. I also realized that reading is social a process. Children learn best when they read and talk together, with the teacher guiding and supporting them. This helped me see that developing reading is about both skills and identity. One of the important moments for me was the shared readings of where the white things are. We began with a picture walk, which encouraged prediction and prior knowledge. Then we mapped the text structure, looking at the orientation, characters, complications, and resolutions. Finally, we discussed ways to apply and respond creatively. What I realized is that shared reading does more than teaching decoding. It develops multi roles of a reader as described in the four resources model. Children act as code breakers when they connect letters and sounds, and as the text analyzes when they question the author's choices. This model helped me see how one shared reading lesson can support all dimensions of reading development. At Red Creek School, I can see how the workshop texts connect directly to children's reading development. The classes was very diverse. Refugee learners, Aboriginal students, and fluent English readers all learn together. Shared reading tasks like picture walks and predictions give beginner readers strong visual and oral support. Text mapping activities help all children organize ideas, while open ended discussions allow fluent readers to think more deeply and critically. From this, I learned that reading development is not only about decoding words, it's also about building comprehension, confidence, and a sense of belonging. Reading together helps every child feel included and see themselves as a part of learning community. One key takeaway for me about the teaching and learning cycle is how it balances high expectations with strong scaffolding, and the teachers moves flexibly depending on where students are. What strikes me most is that this cycle is not just a planning tool, but a pedagogy that creates success for all learners because it ensures children are supported before they walk in independently. And what impressed me most and what is really important is how the role of a teacher changes throughout the teaching and learning cycle. At the start, during building the field, the teacher takes a strong leadership role, setting the context, introduce key vocabulary, and make sure children have success to share the knowledge. In the next stage, supported reading and viewing, the teacher becomes more of a guide. Here, teacher models how to approach a text, asking guiding questions and makes thinking visible. When moving into joint construction, the teacher shifts again, becoming a collaborator. Students and teacher create text together, and the teacher scaffolds by prompting, revoicing, and extending students' contributions. Finally, in independent construction, the teacher steps back and acts as a facilitator. Children take greater responsibility for their own work, while the teacher observes, encourages, and provides feedbacks where needed. For me, this highlighted that teaching is not static. That teaching requires flexibility. The teacher moves from leader to guide to collaborator to facilitator, depending on where students are in their learning. And thinking about the Red Creek School, I can see how I would adapt these tasks in diverse classroom. For example, starting with a mental text like where the white things are, I would first build a field using picture walks or oral storytelling, make the text accessible for refugees children. Then, in joint construction, groups could retell things with teacher support for vocabulary and sentences building. Finally, fluent readers could move into independent writing while others contribute through drawing or oral retells. The cycle ensures everyone participates at their own level. For me, the big lesson was that teaching and learning cycle creates equity. It supports every child to engage, talk, and create with confidence.